one stop, a family shop. Think Thayer, come on, let's get rolling. Come on, let's get moving. Think Thayer.
Volleyball last night. In the 24/7 world of college football coaching, I mean, how nice is it to just get a few hours to spend quality time with the family?
You know, it was just my daughter, and that's exactly what it was a few hours. I got to see her 1 hour before they had to go into pregame meal, and then I had to hang out with her college roommate for 4 hours, watch the match that took 3 games, take her out to eat afterwards, and I got 2 hours sleep, not counting with the naps I could take on the plane going back and forth. But it was absolutely awesome, or as we like to say around here, AWESA. Come on, John.
All right. The one question I have is Ball State. I mean, I guess I'm not going to ask much about what you've seen for this year, but talk a little bit more, if you would, about last year. I mean, especially the feeling after that game, jumping out to a big lead, and then they pretty much dominated the rest of it.
I think it was one of those classic games. I think we started off with 2 long runs. I want to say one by Box and one by Travis. I mean, really long runs. And went up 14-0, and then they came back and put it on us. I want to say they scored like 58 points or something.
I think it was 21-7, but it was still, from that point, it was all them.
They scored a lot of points on us. And when a team does something like that, there's normally a letdown. That's the best way I can put it. And I can still remember not taking the team to the locker room, putting them down there in that corner, and I wouldn't let them speak, and just watching Ball State celebrate. And I wanted something that was going to be burnt inside of them for a long time, because it's one thing to lose a football game. There's another thing to lose a football game like that. And it's not always about wins and losses. Sometimes it's about life lessons, and I think that was a life lesson.
Can you put into words what the lesson was?
No, not right now, but I've got a team meeting in about an hour, and I think that I'll be able to find some words for them.
Can't help our readers out.
No, sir.
You spent a lot of energy for the Toledo game. You're already in the MAC championship. When you do talk to players in practice, what is the motivation this week? How do you make sure that there is no trap game, there is no lapse, that they remember that standing there and watching Ball State? Well,
I think that one of the big things you always want to do, and this is the whole thing about having your rival game as the last game of the year or the first game of the year. I mean, sometimes those games take so much out of you that they not only beat you once, they can beat you twice. And it's happened once, and it need not happen again. We need to be able to put a light on things and let them know that that game's gone. Maybe we'll get an opportunity to see them again this year. That'll be a blessing. But if not, we've got to respect the opponent that we're playing. And the opponent we're playing this week is Ball State. They already put a light on us last year and played a fantastic game against us, and we need to try to reciprocate and play our best game against them, especially based off of how we played against Toledo.
I think it was brought up about the turnovers, very uncharacteristic of your guys. Do you feel like going into this week, as you start practicing, that the focus is there? I mean, there were guys making errors that don't normally make errors.
You know, it's one of those things. It's a happening. You want to say, hey, was the stage too big? Were they too hyped up? We can talk days about it. The bottom line is the performance wasn't consistent. The performance was occasional. And as a coach, I'm looking for a consistent performance, something I can wind my clock by, day in and day out. I know it's going to be there for me. I can coach that. I can call plays to that. We can call defenses to that. When someone's going to be up and down like a roller coaster, it's very difficult to have that person inside of a system, inside of a scheme. So that performance was an occasionally great performance. And what we need to get back to is being consistently good.
You mentioned that with your offense. Does the defense fit under that same header?
Absolutely. All football players do. All football teams do.
No, I'm sorry. I'm saying the offense, if I'm understanding your words, was kind of up and down, the occasionally great, not consistently good. Was the defense the same way?
I think there was, those first 2 drives, regardless of how short the field was, they were too easy. I mean, I'm not talking bad about our defense. I thought they did a great job in the second half. But if you're telling me they came out, I don't care where the ball was. Think about how the plays were. How did those guys go in the end zone? Okay, those plays were too easy. We need to be ready to go from day one.
How much of an emphasis going into this month was on finishing the month strong, heading into the MAC championship?
Yeah, a lot too. We wanted to have, the games you remember are the ones in November. And if I'm remembering right now we're 2-1. Is that correct? Help me. Don't leave me struggling. Don't leave me out there now. We're 2-1. And we've got one more game left in November. And to finish this with a 3-1, based off of how some other people have done, I think that would be a really good year. Not outstanding, but really good.
I know there's a lot of talk about Roger, and you have a lot of weapons at wide receiver, but I remember being at the MAC championship, and Dino had a big touchdown. And what he did the other night, it just seems like sometimes it might be a forgotten star, but the one-arm handed catches and stuff, and what he's been able to bring for you guys, can you talk about his performance?
Dieter, it's really ironic, because we had the same thing happen when I was at Eastern Illinois. My first year, we had Eric Laura, who ended up for 2 years, ended up breaking Jerry Rice's all his receiving records. And we had another receiver on the other side of him. In his very first year, he hardly played. And his mom and his dad came up and they were talking to me, and I said, "Your son has a lot of talent, but he's not being a sponge." I said, "If he takes the techniques and fundamentals that we're trying to teach him," I said, "your son could be outstanding." I said, "He's got to listen. He's got to take it in." And he made the biggest jump from his first year to his second year. His name was Adam Drake. He ended up being an All-American. I think he was an All-American 2 years in a row, including last year. And when I came here, to me, that's exactly how GD is. Not that he wasn't good the first year, but he really, really bought into the techniques and fundamentals. And he's making huge, huge jumps. And when you put that with the God-given ability that his mom and dad gave him, I think you're seeing a premier, wide receiver. We talk about Roger Lewis, we can talk about Ronnie Moore, we can talk about Ryan Burbank, but GD is just as good. He's a very, very good player, and we have no problem throwing him the football, as you guys can see.
In the NFL, in Week 16, playoff teams will occasionally play through a game leading into the playoffs. In other words, rest starters, things like that. Have you given any consideration for doing that next Tuesday?
We're going to play. We did not play well the last time we were out. We did not function well as a unit, and we need that cohesiveness. We've got to get that timing back. We've got to get that feel good. And if things go our way, then we'll see. But when we kick off Tuesday, we'll have our top guys in there, and we'll be playing to win.
Okay. And what you're saying is the plan as it's now is for them to play, and the amount of time they play in the game is not set.
They're going to have to play. Ball State beat us by a whole bunch to a little bit last year.
Right.
We've got to make sure that we've got that difference made up, not only physically, okay, but mentally.
Okay. So if you see that that's made up at a certain point in time that's not 0-0-0 in the fourth quarter, then you can start making subs. You see where I'm driving, right?
I see what you're saying, but let me say this. I'm going to answer your question a different way.
Okay.
There won't be a single person that comes out of that football game that I don't let come out of that football game. No one will substitute a guy unless I say I can, unless I'm substituting a guy. Nobody.
Yeah. And it's not going to be early just to give a guy a rest.
That is correct.